No, I don't think you understand. When I say people from Florida are crazy, I really mean genuinely that they are crazy. My job as a counselor here is safe for a very, very long time. And today's headline just goes to show it. If you haven't seen this, you're missing the best part of your day because it just came out. Man tries to travel the Atlantic Ocean in a hamster wheel again. This is not the first time that Mr. Reza Baluchi has tried this. The man, 51, was charged on Tuesday, caught by the U.S. Coast Guard because he got it in his head just on a random Saturday afternoon, just thought to himself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build a hamster wheel and I'm going to pedal this thing across the Atlantic Ocean and just go pop on over the pond to say hi to those in London. Attempted to go from Florida to London. Unfortunately, maybe he just didn't see it coming. It was cut short by the Coast Guard. You know, blasted Coast Guard. If they had just been out of his way, he'd have made it. You know, if we'd only allow him the freedom that his American rights deserved, he'd have been over in London by now, and we wouldn't have been able to stop him. I'm going to show you this. This is crazy. This was the contraption that this individual built, thinking that he could walk across the Atlantic Ocean. We gotta talk about this. He called it a hydropod, and I'm going to read you this here real quick. Not only that, but as Hurricane Franklin was barreling towards the eastern United States, decided to launch during the middle of a hurricane. The Coast Guard, preparing off the coast of Georgia, encountered another unexpected phenomenon. Alone at sea was a man in a buoyant, human-sized hamster wheel who claimed he was trying to journey on the Atlantic Ocean again. This individual has been caught several times. He just thought that he was going to travel 4,000 miles in a hamster wheel. Mr. Baluchi, who has been attempting similar voyages since 2014, threatened to kill himself should officers interrupt his mission, the Coast Guard said. He was eventually persuaded to leave the vessel on August 29th after a 3-day standoff, might I tell you. And he was charged in federal court in Miami on Tuesday with obstructing of boarding in violation of the captain of the port order. What's crazy is he was found on August 26th, 70 nautical miles off the coast of Tybee Island. See, now listen, I don't know if we can blame substances in this individual system, because I tell you what, meth is a hell of a drug. And so I don't know, 70 miles is a very long way. I didn't think this person would get that far, but clearly they got 70 miles, just short of the 4,000. Officers asked him to show his registration documents, but he couldn't find them, according to a complaint filed Tuesday. When the officers approached Mr. Baluchi's vessel in a smaller boat and asked him to disembark, he said that he had a 12-inch knife and would kill himself. They returned to their ship, which remained nearby, according to the complaint. The next day, officers tried again, but this time Mr. Baluchi showed them 2 knives, up the ante, threatening to kill himself. Then he grabbed some wires and said he would blow himself up, according to the documents. Later, he told the officers that the so-called bomb was fake. It was 2 days before officers who had tried to deliver food, water, and news of the approaching hurricane to Mr. Baluchi. Only after that were they able to coax him from his floating wheel. On Friday, they brought him ashore in Miami Beach. Neither Mr. Baluchi, who said he was born in Iran, was granted asylum in the United States, nor his lawyer could immediately be reached for comment. According to the court documents, the voyage was Mr. Baluchi's 4th attempt in a decade at traveling on the ocean in a homemade contraption. Each time the Coast Guard ultimately intervened, according to the courts. Just this epic tale. This epic tale between the U.S. Coast Guard and Mr. Baluchi. Been foiled again after 10 years. This is like rivaling, Wile E. Coyote in the Roadrunner here. You just can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. In 2021, he was arrested after being rescued while trying to ride from Florida to New York, drifting 30 miles. Is 30 miles that time. In 2014, he had been rescued from a similar contraption near St. Augustine, and then 2 years later, he again had to be rescued off the coast of Jupiter near Palm Beach in Florida. It actually also says right here that he has a public defender who could not be responded for comment. I just imagine being the public defender assigned to this case. Public defender is just somebody, if you can't afford a lawyer, one will be assigned to you, your Miranda rights. Imagine, you're just doing your job. Public defender must be rough. And it's like, oh, you have to defend Hamster Wheel Boy, who tried to go across the Atlantic Ocean. I don't understand. So they tried to ask him why he was doing this. Like, was he just bored? Did he need a little exercise, trying to lose a couple of those holiday pounds that all of us are trying to complain about? And when responding, and this is back in 2021 for the interview, he says, I know what I'm doing, right? His attempts was to raise money to help homeless people and for other charitable causes. He added, I am not dumb. Can't blame him though, heart of gold. I mean, he goes on to say here, my goal is not only raise money for the homeless people, but to raise money for the Coast Guard themselves. His arch enemy, he's let bygones be bygones. I'm going to travel across the ocean to raise money for the police department, raise money for the fire department. He told WOFL TV in Orlando. They are in public service. They do it for safety and they help other people. I mean, what heart of gold, what a sweetheart. And to get to the psychological part for just a minute, because of course that's why you're here, to hear my psychology opinion. You know, I always say that when you're talking about mental health, when you're talking about psychopathology and mental disorders, you can really boil everything down to a difference between perception and reality. Everything, depression, anxiety, trauma, you have what we perceive. I mean, we are just big sense-making machines. You know, we got all this data coming in through our eyes, through our ears, through our skin, through our feelings, right? We're taking in the world. And then what our brain does is it processes that to tell us what we should do or what that information means. Now, so here's an individual who took on all this information. He's like, well, 4,000 miles, you know, you got the ocean, you got buoyancy. I could walk to London. I could do it, you know. So here's his perception. And then there's reality. You can really not walk across 4,000 miles of the Atlantic Ocean through a hurricane to arrive in London. But his perception was, yes, I can. Anxiety is the same way. I can't get up in front of 5,000 people and speak. Yes, you can, right? And so the more that we can align and make them match up, perception and reality, the better that people are able to deal. Depression is a difficulty with overcoming the reality of the world. It feels hopeless. I don't know what to do with this. My perception is I thought it would be this, but the reality is it's this. My PTSD, I thought I could be safe. I thought I would be okay. Turns out I wasn't. I don't know how to make sense of these. This is the world I thought I lived in, and this is the reality. And you see this over and over again. And so I think this is just a great example of what we see in many of us. And so it's fun to poke fun and think about how crazy this story is, because it really is crazy. But I hope that this is a moment to self-reflect. We all struggle to see reality for what it actually is. And it's that difficulty with perception that makes us struggle so much with our mental health. Now, the question you may be all asking yourselves, Jesse, what does it mean to dream about being in a hamster wheel trying to travel across the Atlantic Ocean? Well, my friends, I'm glad you asked. The ocean is about the depths of our unconscious. That's about the depths of who you are as a person. Inside the ocean are all these unknown and undiscovered things. And so it really symbolizes those unknown and undiscovered parts of ourselves inside of our deeper unconscious. Now, a hamster wheel is pointless effort. So if you are running on a hamster wheel, you're spinning your wheels in circles. You even hear that in our language, right? I'm just spinning my wheels over here, right? The hamster fell off its wheel. It means that you're getting nowhere trying to explore the depths of who you are. So now you know, if you had that dream, that's what it means. Like and subscribe down below. Leave a comment or leave a link to the video that you want me to react to next, and I'll give you my opinion. Until then, have a wonderful day. Bye.